Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a little traveler's notebook, a camping traveler's notebook that I created out of scraps of paper that I received from Country Craft Creations in my design team package. I used the 12 by 12 scraps that I had left over from the Echo Park Let's Go Camping paper collection. This little notebook measures 4 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall and has an elastic closure with charms added on the front. So I show you the finished notebook at the end of the tutorial. So let's get started on making it. To create the Let's Go Camping Mini Traveler's Notebook, I'm using all the scraps. So this is what I have left in this plastic envelope of the Let's Go Camping 12 by 12 paper collection that I received as a design team package. So what I've done to start off with is I have cut one piece. This is the Echo Park coordinating solids, the brown and the dark green. And I cut out a piece that is 8.5 by 4.25. That is exactly what I had as a scrap, and I took my scoring tool and I have scored this at 4.25 to get my halfway point. Mine are already scored, so I'm just showing you here. And then on each side I wanted 1/2 inch. So my score marks are actually 3 3/4, 4.25, and 4 3/4. So depending on your scrap that you want to use, you want a center score line, the center of the width, and then 1/2 inch over and 1/2 inch over. Now this will make our cover piece. Now I didn't have any pattern paper that was big enough this size, so I went in and picked out 2, and these are from the back of some cut aparts. They were already a little bit bigger than this, and I trimmed these down. These 2 of these are 3.5 wide by 4 1/8 tall, and those are going to fit on the front and back cover like this. So I'm going to glue these on. So I'm going to take my art glitter glue and just put some on the back side. And all I'm going to do, because I am just using scraps, is just pattern for now the front and back of the cover. So this is the front side. So this one here, burnish that down. And then I want this one here on the back. So I'm going to use my glue for that. And then the next step, and I'm leaving the inside, the solid color, the solid dark green on this cover. And then the next thing we're going to do to make this real durable, this little travel notebook, is I'm going to laminate the cover. And I'm going to have to do that in my office. So that's not going to be on video. So I'm going to pause and go downstairs. You will need an 8.5 by 11 laminate pouch and a laminator machine to do that. Otherwise, you can just leave it plain cardstock. But I want it the real strong plastic, so I am going to do the laminating on this. But before we do the laminating, I do want to round my corners. So I'm using the 1/4 inch on my chomper here. I'm not rounding the pattern paper, just the outer edges of the coordinating cardstock like that. And then I'm going to take some ink, and I am going to ink the edges just a little bit because this is kind of close to the edge. So I still want that inked right there. Kind of give it a little rustic look here. Right here along the top, especially this white one here on the back. So I've inked that pretty good, so you can see some of the ink over the edge. And this is the pumice stone gray in the distress ink. So we have that. So this is the cover. So now I am ready to go laminate it. I'll be right. I took my cover that I made down to the office, and where we have a laminating machine, and I laminated. This is one 8.5 by 11 pocket. sleeve for the laminator. So of course you could make 2 of this size if you wanted to and not waste all this, but I'm just doing the 1. And here's the thing about these little travel notebooks or journal notebooks. There's so many different sizes. I know there's standard sizes, but I don't usually go with standard sizes of anything unless that's what I want. And I've just made mine based on the size of scraps that I have, so you can do the same. Yours may be taller, and that's fine. Now the next thing we need to do is trim this. Now this was already sealed here at the top, so I want to make sure and not trim up against the paper. You want to leave some of your plastic around it so it keeps the seal. So I'm going to pause the camera and head over to my trimmer, and I'll trim this down on the 2 short ends and the 1 long end, and then show you how that looks. Okay, so I was going to do mine about a 1/16 from the edge like it is at the top, but I went ahead and took a wrist and cut it a little closer. It's about 32 seconds from the edge. Really, really close, but not into where the paper is, and mine is staying. Now, the plastic is going to be sharp on the corners, and that's why you need to round the corners. And again, I'm using the 1/4 inch, so I'm clipping through and rounding those plastic corners so they're not sharp, and you want to make sure you do that. Okay, now then we have it like this, and you pretty much, you can see your score line, and you can just fold that and burnish, or you can do a rescoring. I don't think that's necessary. And you want to get all 3 lines folded up. And it kind of crackles and pops with mine. Here we go. But we have a nice plastic coating on our cover. And then there's our spine like that. Okay. So we have this. We have 3 lines, and that's where we're going to be putting our punch lines. Now, you want to use your smallest hole punch, not the big one. My Crop-A-Dile has, some reason, the big one has quit punching all the way through. I don't know if it got misaligned or I haven't been able to get it to work right, so I have to order me a new one. But the small, thankfully, still works. So you want 3 holes on each line, score line. I mean, you want 1 hole in each score line on both sides. So you're going to have 3 holes, 1 here, here, and here, 1 here, here, and here. So I don't know if I'm saying that correct. And you want it into the cardstock, but right on the edge, kind of, and on that line. So I'll look in there and punch through. And then you have to pull some of that plastic out, because you don't need that in there. So there's where that hole is. I need it a little bit better on the line this time. Just the best that you can, where you can see that cardstock in there, and punch. And the same on this 3rd one. This is where we're going to put our elastic for our cord, for our page sets. We're going to have 3 full page sets, and then we might add a pocket in. I don't know yet. So you do 3 there, and then you repeat on the other side, same thing, right over that fold line onto the cardstock. You don't want it on the edge of your plastic. You don't want it coming off. Trying to get this one lined up. Okay, so now I have 3 holes for my elastic. And I'm just making sure to pull out the inside. So let me grab my elastic now. So I picked up elastic cording. I have 3 different sizes. I think I'm going to use the bigger size. So let me open this up. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some threading through here to make our signatures. So let me think a minute. I know I want it here on the inside. So I'm going in from the bottom. Turn it over. This is the bottom. Going in from the back side on the bottom. And then down I'm going to roll off a lot, enough to work with. Okay, so that is the first one right there. So pull enough through. We're going to go down to the center one here, and that gives us a short line here. So let me turn this over so you can see. We go in from the bottom. So I'm still attached to my main cord here. In from the bottom, down at the top, flip it over, then go down to the center. And we're going to bring this center one down to the center bottom one. And we're going to pull on that. So we like to, pull in enough that we can keep working with it. So what we're making is these elastic sections where we put our page sets in. Now then we have this one pulled, and we're going to turn this over, and we're going to go to the outer, I believe, bottom. So that makes that line. And let's go up. To the top. So now we have our 3 lines on the inside. And I'm going to make sure that I have pulled enough. Let's see, here's my main thing right here. Yeah, pull this away. So I can't tell you how much I have used because I just do it as I go. I'm like pulling it through before I cut. I don't want to cut too short, so I'd rather do it this way and then just keep pulling. There we go. So let's see how we're doing now. The center one needs to be pulled a little more. You want it tight, but not too tight. You want to be able to get your paper under there. Adjust it. So now we're at the top on the outside. Okay. So we're going to go down in from the center at the top here with this one. And it gets a little tight in there. Just pull your elastic down so that you can get the end through. There you go. And then we pull that. So now here at the top, you will see we have like 2 stitches at the top. 2 short stitches like that. And then we need the same down here at the bottom. So I'm going to pull this. Okay. Cut off some of this about the same, just a little bit longer on one side. Now I'm going to feed this one that was attached to the main piece. I'm going to feed it through the bottom here, the bottom center. Pull it. Okay, so now we have 2 short stitches on each end, and I just need to tighten some of them up here. And this one's going to come this way. There we go. So you want your lines fairly tight here. Now these we're going to bring up, and we're going to tie this on the inside. And this makes a 4th line if you want it. To add another insert. It doesn't have to be a full set of pages. It could be a pocket or a sleeve or something for a photo or whatever you want. And I'm going to double tie it. So I have a lot of extra here, kind of wasting, but I'm going to use part of it, I think, for a closure. So here we go. Pull it this way. And then we have it tied 2 knots, and we trim that off. So now we have a little cover with our elastic for our page sets. And then we want a closure to go around it. So we'll use some of this elastic for that. Okay, so for your little elastic closure piece, you could use the elastic ones by Tim Holtz that have the attachment already on them. I'm going to go ahead and use this piece here, which is about 12, 6, about 18 inches, I think was left over from that. And you also want a charm. Now I went to my stash of charms. I can't believe I don't really have anything much for camping. I don't have any trees, or I looked at Christmas to see about any trees or anything. So I found this little toy green Jeep, and I'm going to use that to hang on my closure piece. And so we're going to punch another hole. Don't know if this is going to let me get my big bite so that I can reach all the way through. And that's going to be already, let's see here, set for that. Okay, let's slide it. Whoops. Okay, I got the small hole set. And you may be wondering, if I have this, why do I need this other one? Because I like this one the better for small, where it's closer in, because I can see it better. Now I want this centered about and on the center line. Now, I'm not going to punch it. I know you can't see. I'm going to line it up so that I can eyeball it as close as I can. I'm not going to punch. I'm just going to keep sliding it down to where I think it should be. And I'm going to punch. So I have that hole there in the center. And you're going to feed this double line. And you're going to feed it from the outside. I didn't punch the thing here. Both lines are going to go through. Oops. I think I'm going to do one at a time here. We go. One in. Pull that to the side. And then take your other one in. And you want to put your charm on. So I need to do that. About that. Now I feed this other one in. We pull both tails through. Now, you're going to have to try to determine before you do any tying about how big you want this. So it's kind of snug, not too snug, but not, you don't want it super loose either because it's elastic. So I think that's pretty good. Now, do I want to tie a knot on this charm? This is going to slide around, but I don't think so. So I'm going to pull this up. Got it where I want it. I'm going to reach in here, and we're going to tie a knot. Don't let it move. Hold it with my fingers, one finger, and make the knot. Now I'm going to make another knot. I'm going to check it to see. I don't want it pulling out of the hole. Right there. I'm not going to pull it real tight. I want to check my closure here. Don't want to make it too short. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go with that. So now we can go ahead and pull this knot. Pretty snug. Do another. It stops right there, that knot. So that pulls through like that, and you don't want it pulling out. Now then, we trim these off. Okay, so there's the cover with our elastic closure. And we're ready now to make some little page sets that go inside. Okay, so now we're ready to make our little page sets that go inside our little travel notebook. Now you can use cardstock. I did not want to cut into new cardstock because I don't have any big enough. So I used one letter size file folder and cut it to what I needed. So these, I cut 3 that are 7 1/8 long or wide by 4 1/8 tall. So you want that just a little bit bigger than the papers we're going to make. Then I used regular 8.5 by 11 copy paper. You can ink it, you can stain it, you can tea dye it, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to leave mine plain white. And you cut as many as you think you may want. Now each page, let's see here, I have one, there we go. Because you fold them in half, of course. I cut mine at 7 by 4. So you get, I believe, 2 out of each sheet of paper. And then you can use your scoreboard, but I'm just going to fold them in half, line them up, give them a crease, and then burnish them. Now what you do is these are going to go, you fold these in half as well and burnish. And we're going to decorate them, and then we're going to add our pages in. Now, if you want to sew them, you can. I am not. I'm going to leave mine loose. Just slip them under the elastic. And then if I want to change one out, if I make a mistake and I want to put something else in there, or I change it out for the next year, whatever I want to do. I'm thinking of using mine more as a checklist type. Like when you go camping, you want to make sure you're getting everything. You want to write lists or your grocery list. That would be really fun to do with that. Now this one I folded in half, and I inked, used that stencil from Echo Park that goes with the collection that I got in my design team package. And I did the back side. I'm going to show you how. I just used the plastic packaging that it came in, and I'm going to line it up like this. And then I'm using the Prima Color Philosophy in sepia color and a brown color. And I'll just ink up my little dauber here. And I'm going to start inking. Now I'm going to do it heavier on the left fold side. And then I'm going to let it go a little lighter towards the other side. So once you've inked it up both sides, then I go ahead and take a damp cloth and wipe off my stencil and set that aside. Now, I paused the camera and I went ahead and I drew lines. You can do it freehand, or you can use your ruler, and I used a fine tip Sharpie pen and made me some lines. And then I took a cut apart, glued on 2 short ends and across the inside, made a pocket, and then I used patterned paper to finish this edge here on the edge. And then I fussy cut out onto some of the scraps of cardstock a sleeping bag sticker. So I can either stick that in the pocket, or we can attach it maybe with a paper clip or something like that. I'm going to stick it in the little pocket for now. So that's a page set right there. So you take, let's go ahead and do one of our outer part of our page set. So this one here, I decided I am going to ink along the edges of this file folder piece that I cut. And again, this is a 7 1/8 by 4 1/8 to make it just a little bit bigger, folded in half and scored. And then I've cut pieces from my scrap. Now this was a cut apart. So I'm going to ink the edges of that. Now I'm not going to show you me making all of mine, just giving you some ideas, because certainly your scraps and things that you have, are going to be different than mine, and your travel notebook may be a totally different size, and that's fine. Base it on your scraps. So here I have cut another strip here to fill the whole size because the cut aparts are a little bit short. So I'm inking this, and we're going to glue all these on to the front. We're going to pattern the front and the back for sure in my little booklets here, or page sets. And I'm using the art glitter glue that you can also order from countrycraftcreations.com. So I'm going to put this right here. Let's go off the grid, and then a scrap here is going to go right along there. And may have cut this bigger one to go there. I think I'll do the big one. So I'm going to ink it. And I don't care if I'm real sloppy with my inking and it comes off on the finished side. That is fine. I want it to be kind of rustic looking. And I don't want to have to worry about keeping it neat and tidy when I use it. I want to use it for camping notes and things. So let's burnish that. So there's the front of that one. And like I said, you can pattern all four sides if you want. I'm probably just going to do for now just the outer part. So this one is like this. And I'm going to ink it too. And then I have a scrap that I cut down for it. That one's going to go there. I have this little strip here from a border. It was a scrap of paper. And what I'm going to do is show you putting these together and putting them in the book. So I'm going to glue this one here on the far side. Making these out of your scraps is a lot of fun. And you can make it any size to fit what you have to work with. So this one is going to go in that space there on the left. And it's a little wider, but that's okay. I don't care if it overlaps. This says adventure, and this says let's go off the grid. So we open up this little folder up, and we have this one page that I've already made, and I added a pocket in that. So that's just going to lay right there on the inside. And you put as many of these papers that you want. And then you can decorate by adding the lines like I did on the other one, using a stencil. And if you want them stitched together, you can certainly do that, but I'm going to leave mine loose. Like I explained, I want to be able to take them out and interchange them. If I want to take a notes out from one trip and start over with something new. So you just decide how many you want in there. So I've added 3. I think I'll do one more. And then I have that one. So I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5. That's probably a good number. So they're all stacked up in here. And you can also add in other scraps and things. It's kind of like a junk travel notebook, I guess you would say. But anyway, we got these pages here. So this goes in here like this. So then you take your notebook cover and open it up like this one. You just decide, do you want it in the center or the back? So I'm going to put this one in that center one. The main one. And then let it pull through all the way to the fold, and then you let it fold in like that. So that one's in. Now remember, we had this extra one where we finished it off and tied it in a knot. So for that one, I have taken this larger cut apart, and it is trimmed it down a little bit. It is still the 6-inch, just under 6 inch, but about 6 inches by 4. Folded it in half because I want the sleeping bags. And then here on the inside, this is going to be sideways, and I don't want that. So I took a Copic marker in a dark gray. And where the white lettering shows, I'm just coloring that in, covering it up. Both sides, I've already done the one side, so that when I put this piece of paper on there, and I'm going to go ahead and color around all 4 edges a little bit. It's kind of like inking it, but it's heavier, and it's going to hide that white lettering on the edge. Okay, then I cut some of the coordinating cardstock, and I'm going to glue it here in the inside. So I cut those down to fit with just a slight margin. And these will be places where, if you wanted to, you could add some little photos. Or if you don't want the darker color cardstock, you could trim down a piece of notebook paper or copy paper and glue that over that right there. Or maybe you want to put some stickers. Whatever you want to do to decorate it up. And this is going to be like an extra little insert. And you see how that Copic marker hid the white lettering. So now it doesn't look funny. I'm going to take this, the little sleeping bag, now I want to ink them on the outside here. All the way around the edges and on the fold. Oops. Butterfingers, can't hold on. Trying to hurry, I don't want it to be a real lengthy video. I'm going to do a short, quick one, sort of. So then you open this back up, and then that extra elastic there on the center, I'm going to open it up and slide this on. And so that one goes right there, and it's a little offset, and I like that. Now I'm going to make 2 more signatures, one for the back, one for the front, and then I will show you, once I have that done, what it looks like. Okay? So I've been working on my page sets. I have all 3 in and my extra that I put on, and the truck charm just was not doing it for me. It was too bulky. So I went in my stash and I found 3 sets, different sizes of metal leaves. So I have 3 of those on there, and then this pretty blue flower looking charm, and I like that better. I put a big jump ring on it so it slides back and forth. So you open it up, and I'll show you what I've done. Of course, I've used different cut aparts for the fronts and back of my page sets, and I decided to make it kind of rustic, like it's been outside maybe a little bit. I did draw the lines on 1 or 2 pages in each page set, mostly just one, because I'm going to do that as I need them. One thing I did is I took my ink pad, and to get the stamped images, I learned this a long time ago when I accidentally put an album cover on top of my ink pad, and that I said, well, that's a cute way to make things more rustic. So you just press it down. I have strings in here on mine from the edges, and like right here, you just kind of put a blob, and I just do it at random. There's none done the same. You can even, you know, put the whole thing. I did it up further in, the whole pad down if you wanted to. And I wouldn't do this on all my travel journals, but this one I wanted it kind of, I guess you could call it campy, where it's like been outside and it's got, you know, maybe been stepped on. Another cute thing you could do, if your dog will let you, I don't think my cats would, is put some ink on their paw and put some paw prints in there. So that would be really cute. Or if you could find a stencil that has paw prints. I used the stencil I got in my design team kit from the Echo Parks Let's Go Camping with the arrows. So I used that on some of my pages, and of course I added in stickers. So let's take a look from the front. So you open it up, and of course you got your really sturdy laminated cover. And then we have our first set here. I have put this cut apart. It says I have a wild side, and then happy camper stickers, and the hot dog on the fork, some of the arrows, camping chair, happy camper here. So I've got my lines already on this page to take notes if I want to. And then each page in here, I'm not going to go through all of them, have the stamping, Some have a lot, some just a little bit in the inking of the arrows here and there. And then inside, I used some stickers on some of the inside covers. Some stickers here on the back. This is that add-on where you could put a couple of photos there if you wanted to. And then this one is Let's Go Off the Grid. Now I could switch that out and put that on the front if I like that saying better. And then this is pieced together. We have some more of the arrows, the hot cocoa, and the s'mores stickers. And then this inside the pocket here that I made, I decided to make a little booklet out of some of the navy cardstock I had and a strip of paper. So you can put photos in that if you wanted to, or you could add paper and make a little note spot there. Excuse me. Some more stickers on the rule pages where I drew the lines. So we got the paper in here. More cut aparts and stickers. Let's Sleep Out Under the Stars. This one says Adventure. And here I use that sticker of the sleeping bag. I put it on some cardstock and I made a tuck spot. I took some of the coordinating cardstock and I cut it down and I made a little notepad. I just cut the paper all the same size, rounded the corners, and then just glued each page on top of the other and then finished it off with a piece of patterned paper. It's just real easy to do. Just probably about 5 or 6 sheets of paper on there, and that just tucks in there, so that's something to write on. And again, these pages are all just stamped with the ink at random, like that. And the cover here, the stickers, I drew lines in on this cover. You might want to put a date or something here. So that's my little mini camping travel journal. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will have a go at making something like this. Remember, make it any size that you want and just follow the steps on how to. And if you want it really sturdy laminated, I am not going to add anything else to the front cover because I want to keep it nice and flat. It can go in your purse when it's this size, and it's very handy for taking shopping notes or just any kind of notes like passwords or reservations, like for your campsites and different things like that. And you can even add in some photos. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick little tutorial. Remember to check out countrycraftcreations.com for your scrapbooking supplies. This was the scraps left over from the 12 by 12 Echo Park Let's Go Camping paper collection. Check out their adhesives, cardstock, and other items that you might want for your project. Thanks again so much, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click on the bell so you'll receive a notification of my next video that I upload, and click like if you like this video so more people will actually see it. Thanks again. Bye-bye.